You have just tuned into the Be Ultimate You Talk Radio Show. I am Bernard Mitchell, aka Mr. BU. You with me for one full hour of information, revelation, and application, and hopefully there's no frustration. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to another episode of Be Ultimate You Talk Radio. This is Mr. BU, and I want to say thank you for sharing your time with me today. Yes. Today we have a very interesting topic. I wanted to go over this phrase. I really want to talk about it, because this is a phrase that's been thrown around. These two words have been thrown around for years, especially when it comes to religion and people in relationships. What are these two words? Unequally yoked. Those two words, unequally yoked. I've heard many people use that phrase, those two words so far out of context. Many wonderful potential relationships have been destroyed before they even started because of those two words, unequally yoked. People speaking in lack of understanding in regards to unequally yoked. I remember when I was a kid, right? When I was in my teenage years, I would hear couples talk about this. I would hear the social groups. I would hear, you standing around and the grown folks is talking and you right there, right near them. And you're not eavesdropping. You're just in the area because the intention is not to hear what they're saying. They're just talking loud enough that I'm right there and I can hear, as my son Solomon would say. I wasn't trying to hear it, but I can't stop my ears from listening if you're talking loud. So they were always, I would hear people talk about such and such is unequally yoked and they shouldn't be together and this. I mean, so dry. Or I've heard in relationships and people I have counseled as well in couples counseling, they would say I'm unequally yoked with this person and we are unequally yoked. And even in business, I've heard people say we can't do business because we're unequally yoked. There's been so many ways that people have put a spin to this here unequally yoked. And I really wanted to talk about it. I remember doing a teaching some years back in regards to unequally yoked. What does it actually mean? Because what happens when people try to use biblical principles in everyday life and application, however, you have an incomplete understanding in regards to application, or you are regurgitating what you have heard year after year after year about a certain topic or a certain thing, you will govern your life in the wrong definition. And what I say in regards to definition, a wrong definition will take you to what? A wrong destination. That is something I fully agree with. The gentleman that mentored me used to say that all the time. A wrong definition will take you to a wrong destination. And even in this regards, unequally yoked. I've seen some people who say, well, because we don't believe the same thing in regards to our lives as Christians, we're unequally yoked. We can no longer be together. Or you're saved and I'm not saved. We're unequally yoked. Or we don't believe the same thing and we can't work together in business. I can no longer be your friend. I can't associate with someone who don't think like I think. Well, that right there is out of context and it is wrong. I'm just going to say that's just, in my view, that's wrong. Why do I say that? Because when you really understand the analogies that are spoken in the Bible, they're spoken in regards to lifestyle. When you hear unequally yoked is not talking about cracking eggs. We're not talking about cracking eggs here and separating the yolk from the other part of the egg. No, we're not talking about that. when you talk about unequally yoked, you're talking about, it's referring to oxen plowing fields together. That means that you are able, when you're talking about being yoked together, this is a lifetime work we're talking about. It has nothing to do with your tax bracket, has nothing to do with how you dressed, has nothing to do with how you speak, has nothing to do with all these frivolous things that people refer to in regards to being right for each other or not. And you can go back and just reflect back before I really get into this analogy that I myself did research on, because I myself was once guilty of saying that we're unequally yoked. We can't work together because we're unequally yoked. We cannot, I can't fellowship with you because we're unequally yoked. Many great potential relationships have not even began because of lack of understanding, because of two words that was shared out of context. And you have people in this world, people right now, to this day, I've just heard another person this past week speak on, I can't be together with this person because we're unequally yoked. And here was the kicker. The unequally yoked part was in regards to believing, having two different sets of views in regards to a parable in the Bible. That right there has set them off on a course. Just because two don't agree, instead of being able to respect each other's views, opinions, or whatever the case may be, you cut them off, shun them, and send them on their way with the phrase, we're unequally yoked. And you have just dismissed a potentially flourishing, beautiful relationship because you two don't think alike, or this person don't see it as you see it. Here's the thing in regards to relationships. When you're in a relationship with someone, no matter what the level of relationship is, you are not looking for a clone. It's called acceptance. You accept a person for who they are. That is called liberty. And what the Bible says about that is, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is what? Liberty. And what does that word liberty mean in the context? It means permission and acceptance, identity, permission to be yourself, and I accept who you are in full. That is the liberty. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, identity, acceptance, and permission to be. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is, I accept who you are, and you have permission to be that in my life. That's liberty. But see, when you lack understanding in that regards, when you do not study to get understanding, but you listen to what others say and you do not study for yourself, that's when you can operate in, you live your life according to wrong definitions. And again, what happens when you have wrong definitions? A wrong definition would take you to what? A wrong destination. How many times have you had relationships, great relationships, potentially great relationships that were damaged, that were destroyed before they even started, or you have dismissed a perfectly great person in your life who's been there supporting you because you two didn't agree on something, and all of a sudden now you're unequally yoked. And because now you're unequally yoked, we can no longer associate with each other. I got to mark and avoid you. All these things that is done out of context. I've rejected you because you don't see the same way as me. That is what this is saying. I'm rejecting you because of my belief. You don't believe what I believe. You don't see how I see. You don't want to walk the way I'm walking, so I'm dismissing you because you are not who I thought you were. You don't see it as I see it. You're supposed to do this. You should have done that. You should. Just in saying that, right? Out of just transparency, I've had this one individual. get upset with me because they said something on a social network, on a book, let's say that, on a social book network. And there was a young gentleman that really wanted understanding, but was getting a lot of pushback because he didn't understand something. So I went in to help. I saw it and I was like, man, this young man, all he's looking for is an answer. I shared an answer with him in regards to his question. I don't want to really go into all that. But however, in that regard, I opened his eyes and he begins, okay, that makes sense, man. I appreciate it because what happened, everyone has, what he said, I've been getting ridiculed, but no one has helped me with understanding. And when giving him understanding in part, because I don't know it all, we all don't know it all, we speak in part. That's when someone else came and said, well, I don't see it like that. I don't see it like this. And because of this here, we're unequally yoked, brother. I can no longer associate with you. Okay, well, if that's what you believe, fine. But we can always agree to disagree, or we can glean from each other. You teach me, I teach you. Iron sharpens iron. That's how we should go forward. But to say we're unequally yoked because you have a different view about something, that right there is a little off. And that is just in that right there. How many times have that happened in your life? How many times have you experienced being discarded to the side because you didn't see eye to eye with someone? Don't feel bad. It happens all the time. And when you hear this phrase, unequally yoked. After we get back from this commercial break, I'm going to go into the understanding of what it means, why they use that word unequally yoked, okay? On Be the Ultimate You Talk Radio, this is Mr. B-U. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned. There are a lot of things you have to worry about in life, but moisturized lips should not be one of them. Mintworth is currently running a 30% off New Year's special on their all-natural lip balms. Personally, I have been using this product for several months, and let me tell you, this is some great lip balm. My personal favorites are the Belvedere Berry and Vintage Honey. Now look, the sale ends January 31st, so don't miss out. Visit their website at www.mintworth.co. Tell them Mr. B-U sent you. When I think about relaxation, I think of Peace and Light Candle. Peace and Light candles are made using 100% natural soy, pure fragrance oils, essential oils, and cotton paper wicks, resulting in a candle that is clean burning, true to scent, and long lasting. Peace and Light Candles currently offers candles, body butters, and soaps. Visit their website at www.peaceandlightcandleco.com. Welcome back to Be the Ultimate You Talk Radio. This is Mr. B-U, and we're talking about this phrase, unequally yoked, that has destroyed potentially great relationships before they started and have damaged many great relationships, should have been long-lasting relationships because of some misunderstandings and lack of understanding in that regards to this word, unequally yoked. Yep. Let's talk about it. Okay. Now, I shared in the last segment, I was going to share with you in regards to this word unequally yoked and why was it used and where did it come from? Okay. Here's one thing we need to understand. When you read anything in regards to the Bible, you don't just stop at the Bible itself. You have to look at what is happening or what is being said or what is being compared to, and take that and study what's in the analogy. In this case, the analogy is the subject is yoke. The yoke. What is it? What does it mean to be yoked together? Many people think it's about just marriage, relationship, man, woman, whatever the case may be. They think that is the limitation to the word yoke. No. Now, I did a study in regards to this yoke. And what does it mean? Because I know yoke has to do, and back then it was yoked up. It was oxen yoked together. Now, when you understand this thing, this yoke, there are two types of yokes. And if you don't know what the yoke is what is used, the harness that connects two oxen together. There are two types of yokes. There's one that is like very rugged, solid, gives no way. It's for the mature oxen. And then there is this second one there's one solid side, and there's another, the second side is it gives way. That is used for training the immature oxen. You have a mature one and an immature oxen. And what does that sound like to you? That sounds like apprenticeship, right? Apprenticeship. You have one that is well groomed and you have one that is learning. But yet they're still working together, plowing the fields. You have the oxen plowing the fields together. Now, here's the thing to understand. If some of you probably already got it as I'm speaking. Here's the thing in regards to when they were yoked. They talk about unequally yoked. We're talking about being yoked together, and that yoke, unequally yoked, it has to do with the work nature, has to do not just work nature, but who you are and are you able to plow the fields together. Has nothing to do with being saved or unsaved. Has nothing to do with how your tax bracket and your social status. Has nothing to do if you do a compatibility test and you see that you two have two Venus and Mars. Has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with your level of maturity, your growth, and your development. Now, see, to understand this, to really understand, you have to really go study the yoke. Even the Bible says, be not entangled again in the yoke of bondage. That means that you're connected to something that is not healthy for you. You're connected to something that's not good for you. Now, that right there, that should be the context in which people should really understand. Be not entangled again in the yoke of bondage. Don't go back to a mindset that will put you into living beneath your privileges, beneath who you are. What does that mean when you live beneath your privileges and beneath who you are? That is to be cursed. That is what it is to be cursed. Curse means nothing more than to live less than, to live beneath who you are. That is a curse. Curse. What it is to be blessed, to live in the abundance of who you are. Now, let's talk about how does this relate in regards to the yoke. Now, you have many people who curse themselves in this regards. And how do they do it? We are made to be an impact and to be impacted. We are made to be an influence and to be influenced. But it needs to be done, however, it needs to be done in a way that is productive to everyone. Productive, not destructive, but productive in each other's life. Not looking at you just being a critic, bringing no solutions, but to have one who can come in and help enhance your life. That is why you have to understand. In all thy getting, get what? Understanding. In everything you do, get understanding before you speak. Because right now you can look back on many relationships that if I'm working with someone who's mature in their field, if I'm in a relationship, I'm a man and I'm with a woman who is immature. You're immature. Now, my job, if I'm in a relationship with you, if we're yoked together, we decide to work together. We decide to be together. We decide to walk this life out together. And you are immature in some ways. Now, if this person is to the point where it's like it's an entanglement, I don't know why. It's an entangled, like the Bible says, be not entangled again in the yoke of bondage. If this is something that will entangle you, this is something that will pull you from who you are, have you living outside of your true character. Now you need to make a decision. You need to make a decision. Is this here who I'm connected to, this connection, does it influence me to become who I'm not? That is unequally yoked. Am I doing something with this person and it's pulling me away from me? Is this a toxic relationship and there is nothing that can be done to help this relationship be enhanced? Have I come from a place, let's say this here, someone has an addiction, right? And this addiction is their entanglement. This is they may have an addiction to alcohol or drugs, right? And they are now in a position where they've been clean and sober for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long. Now you come into a relationship with someone who is a user, who is an abuser of drugs and alcohol. And this person now is beginning to influence you to get a taste. This is putting you back into what? Entanglement, this yoke, this connection. When you hear yoke, you hear the word connection. Be not connected into anything that will put you back into the old you that you have unbecome from. Let's use that. Dr. Shakina, thank you. Unbecome. You have unbecome this person who you're really not. And now you are living your life as who you are. But you're connecting. There may be some connections in your life with people who are not healthy for your path, your journey. That's what it means to be not entangled again in the yoke of bondage, not just spiritually, not just when it comes to the Bible and understanding a certain amount of scriptures. It also means that when it comes to your everyday life application. If someone's in your life influence you to go back into a way that is not healthy for you, now you need to examine yourself first, not go into blaming, but examine yourself. You have to take a self-examination, be honest, sometimes brutal honesty with yourself in regards to the relationship. Is it healthy for me at this time? Not nitpicking in regards to differences in opinion, differences of views, and differences of this, that, and the third. No, but is this here going to influence me to become someone I'm not? That is what it means. Now, when you talk about unequally yoked, that is unequally yoked. We're not working together productively. We're not living together and going, because let me just help you understand something. There are many people who are considered unsafe, but yet you can work with them productively. See, that's the thing about many religious-minded people. You think that you're only supposed to work with those who are religious like you, think like you, go to the same church as you, read the same Bible and have the same Bible this as you, can only a part of the same denomination as you. You can't do anything outside of the denomination. You can't do anything outside with anyone outside of the church. You can't, because why? We're Baptist and you're Pentecostal and we're unequally yoked. That is a total falsehood. That has been one thing that I've seen over the years that have damaged many potential great fellowships. Many great fellowships have been damaged because of we're over here. This is my church and this is my church and this is my business and this is how we do it. This is my family. It's selfish, self-centeredness that has kept many great relationships from happening, and using unequally yoked as the scapegoat to why you're not connecting with people. Look back on it. If you're honest, you'll be honest with yourself. You could be anybody you want to be in this world, but you cannot fool yourself in that regards. Are you guilty of that? Leaders, are you guilty of that? Community leaders, are you guilty of that? We have those who are community leaders who feel that they can't work with other community leaders because why? We don't have the same this, or we don't believe the same that, or the money is this. It's all different things that are used in the name, in the premises of unequally yoked, to keep people separated from coming together and doing greatness. When you really understand what it means to be yoked together, that it means we are connected together to do a productive work. Be it in marriage, friendship, business, ministry, whatever the case may be. When you're talking about being unequally yoked, you have to look at and examine the situation to see, is this something that is unhealthy for my life, my business, my family? Is this something that's really unhealthy for us? Is this something that's going to take us backwards? Yes? See, There are many ways to look at this, but when you look at it with an eye of understanding and all you're get understanding, now you sit back, you meditate on this, really process this and really study this, you will see the errors of many of our ways. Yes. We're coming down to the end of this segment. We're going to take a commercial break and I'll be back with more Be the Ultimate You Talk Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You know, there are a lot of things you have to worry about in life, but moisturized lips should not be one of them. Mintworth is currently running a 30% off New Year's special on their all-natural lip balms. Personally, I have been using this product for several months, and let me tell you, this is some great lip balm. My personal favorites are the Belvedere Berry and Vintage Honey. Now look, the sale ends January 31st, so don't miss out. Visit their website at www.mintworth.co. Tell them Mr. BU sent you. When I think about relaxation, I think of Peace and Light Candle. Peace and Light candles are made using 100% natural soy, pure fragrance oils, essential oils, and cotton paper wicks, resulting in a candle that is clean burning, true to scent, and long lasting. Peace and Light Candles currently offers candles, body butters, and soaps. Visit their website at www.peaceandlightcandleco.com. Welcome back to Be the Ultimate You Talk Radio. This is Mr. BU, and talking on this phrase, unequally yoked, and how these two words, have been used in the premises of keeping great relationships, great movements, great works from happening. Why? Because myself, in the mind that God has given me, the Most High Yah, in understanding and doing research and seeing and going back, collecting data and really examining the situations of each and every one that are talking about, the ones that I know of myself, the ones that I've come across, even in counseling relationships and so forth and so on, and just sitting there being a personal consultant to people. Really understanding the premises of why many people use this word unequally yoked. It's really they use this as a safeguard and protection. They use this as a way to try to deflect what they feel are harmful things to them, but really it's not. One moment. Had to get some of that tea up in me. Yes. So I've seen what happens, and I've even experienced what happens when it's used against you. Have anyone ever thought about the effects of being on the other side of saying unequally yoked? The people who are receiving this, those who are very sincere about who they are, those who are very sincere about the person who is telling them that we are unequally yoked, but because you may have differences of views, this is thrown out there as a safeguard for you to feel like you can walk away from a relationship because you don't want to have what is called true fellowship. True fellowship is maintaining the relationship. When you maintenance the relationship, you must address some things. Communication. See, many of us, I'm glad it's not me, Lord, but I'd say many of us because we're all included as people, okay? And we're all guilty of this. Every so often, I'm not innocent in this. I've had my moments of this. Yes, I have. Especially being a strong-minded person that I am. Hey, just being honest. Many of us are guilty of sometimes wanting people to be our clones and not our friends and not our friends and colleagues. They want clones. What do you mean when I say clones? You want people to walk like you, talk like you, think like you, agree with you every single time. That is a clone. But when you're talking about having an individual there who is yoked with you, you all are connected together. See, when you talk about this yoke, and let's talk about the one that's mature. for the mature, the one that is sturdy, the one that gives no way. It has this beam on top of it. There's a very strong beam that connects. This is a big wooden beam that connects the yoke from one oxen to the other. It yokes them together. This right here, it is so sturdy. I mean, when I say it is heavy and sturdy, and is really meant for the mature oxen. The big, huge ox that can really carry the load. Now, if you really open up and you're listening to what I'm saying, I'm giving you the answer to the test in regards to relationship. When you say that you are working with something and you're yoked, someone, you want to work with someone who is, and when it comes to business, you work with someone who is diligent. That means these are experts. Experts need to be working with experts unless you are training your apprentice. The two, if you really look at it, okay? Experts need to work together. Okay? That is a should. Don't mean it's always going to happen, but that is what that type of yoke means. I am working with other professionals. I am working with other people who are skilled in their trade, skilled in the industry they are in. And because they are skilled and we have something common, we have a common goal that we have in this regards. I'm bringing this to the table. You're bringing this to the table. We all know our parts. It's like a baseball team. Everyone knowing their position on the fields, and there are no big I's, no little U's. Everyone has understanding of the end goal, and we work towards it. That is what it means to be yoked together. Even in marriage, you have two mature people who are coming together, and these two people have a common goal in mind in regards to, and they sat down and had conversation. They had what? Fellowship. They've had fellowship with each other. They've fellowshipped. They have talked with each other. I have fed you a portion of me, and you have in return gave me feedback on the same level. There have been discussion. There have been some deliberation going on. There have been everything wasn't, I speak and you agree with everything I say. No, there are different views that one may have. Okay, you feel this way, I feel this way. This is what two mature people are able to do. It's not, and even when it comes down to spiritually as well, you have people who are immature as they're growing in their growth in their journeys of life, and religiously or spiritually, or however you want to identify it. And they are trying to connect with people who are mature. They're trying to connect that sense of identity. They want to connect with people of like minds and so forth. Yes, we may have like minds, but we're not going to agree on everything. And that is a common mistake that many make. Just because we may have kindred spirits, we may have some similarities in regards to we may have some things in common. That doesn't mean I am your clone. We may have some things that we may be plowing the same fields together, but that doesn't mean I'm your clone. Even the oxen together that are working, they're not clones of each other. They are two mature oxen. You can see this as two different individuals, two different churches, two different businesses coming together. Whatever the case may be, they're connected by this beam. There's a connection. There's a common interest. That beam represents the common interest. The common interest is the beam that connects them together, and they're able to work together. They understand the field that they're working in. And they're able to work together even when, here's the thing about oxen. Oxen, they're not like Siamese twins that are connected together and never come apart. No, when you take that beam off them, they go their separate ways. When you remove the yoke, they go their separate ways. But when it's time to come together to work, we now come together and on one accord. See, that's the thing about talking about being yoked together. You come together on one accord. On one accord does not mean that we're going to agree on everything. That's why the Bible says, let us come together and reason with one another. Many people don't know how to reason. To reason is to have, we sit down and we may have some differences that we need to iron out. That is to reason. Many people don't want to reason. They want to say their piece and run away. This is how I feel. If you don't like it, tough. And this is what it's going to be. It is what it is. All these phrases that point out self-centeredness. It's either highway or the byway, my way or trailway, get right or get left. All these things that show that you are not prepared to be yoked together with someone else who is mature and understands the field. Now we're getting understanding. Now we're seeing aha. Now you're having your aha moment. Just go back and think about it. Reflect on how many relationships that you have torn down for lack of understanding in regards to this unequally yoked. Just because we didn't agree, all of a sudden now all life has to stop between you and I gotta shun you for the rest of my life because we didn't agree on this topic, this scripture, this business, this move, this here. So many. When we talk about this yoke of bondage, see, it's the yoke, the connection. See, you have to see is, again, I'm going to reiterate it. When you're talking about be not entangled again, the yoke of bondage, is this connection to this organization, this person, these people, this man, this woman, is this going to take me backwards in my thinking? Am I going to be influenced to do things that are counterproductive for my life? That is to go back into the bondage. Am I going to go to the place I unbecome from? You have to unbecome. I have walked away from this old man mentality that I had, and now I am walking with this single, sober mind, and I have understanding, and I have clarity, and my foundation is peace. I'm able to work with people. I see positive things happening. I'm seeing growth in the seeds that I've put down. I am seeing life differently. I am tasting my fruit as I am working in the fields. And now I have this connection that's coming, and it seems like it is taken away from me. I am losing things. I'm seeing myself becoming more I'm beginning to procrastinate. I'm seeing myself not being focused. And it all happened because I'm connected to someone. And did you do it out of ambition? Did you connect to this person because why? You have to be honest with yourself. Hey, understand? Hey, Mr. B-U, you hitting too many areas. My brother, my sister, I had to have this same self-talk with myself at times. I am not one who is above all this. I have to talk to myself about it sometimes when opportunities approach me, and I get many. Let me tell you, I get many opportunities. You have to understand not all these opportunities are bad, but when you really understand, there's some good opportunities and there's some God opportunities. You have to know what are the God opportunities of your life. These are the connections that you want to have. You want to be connected and yoked up with people. You want to be connected, the common interest, that beam, remember the beam on top. That is the beam and when you're talking about working with someone who is another professional, who is skilled in what they do, skilled workers. You work with those who are mature professionals, and you all are plowing the same field. You have the same end goal, and you are ready to work. These are the people you are to connect with and understand that they're not taking you backwards. You both can sharpen each other. You both can reason with one another and still maintain integrity. Imagine that. We're going to take another commercial break, and we'll be back with more Be the Ultimate You Talk Radio. This is Mr. B-U. Stay tuned for more on Unequally Yoked. You know, there are a lot of things you have to worry about in life, but moisturized lips should not be one of them. Mentworth is currently running a 30% off New Year's special on their all-natural lip balms. Personally, I have been using this product for several months, and let me tell you, this is some great lip balm. My personal favorites are the Belvedere Berry and Vintage Honey. Now look, the sale ends January 31st, so don't miss out. Visit their website at www.mentworth.co. Tell them Mr. B-U sent you. When I think about relaxation, I think of Peace and Light Candle. Peace and Light candles are made using 100% natural soy, pure fragrance oils, essential oils, and cotton paper wicks, resulting in a candle that is clean burning, true to scent, and long lasting. Peace and Light Candles currently offers candles, body butters, and soaps. Visit their website at www.peaceandlightcandleco.com. Welcome back to B-Utv Talk Radio. This is Mr. B-U, and we're talking about these two words, unequally yoked. Unequally yoked, and how many people have used unequally yoked and damaged many people's lives, hurt their feelings, rejection, and all these crazy things that's happened because of two words. We are unequally yoked, quote unquote, unequally yoked. I'm not yoked with you, bro. I can't work with you. And the women, I can't work with him, her. We can't be in relationship no more because we unequally yoked. But do you really understand what that word means, that phrase means? Do you understand the context of the content that you're sharing? See, here's the thing in that regards. If you're going to say something like that, you got to understand what comes behind that. Because what you have is someone who really, now, Lord forbid if that person suffers from rejection or abandonment, and they have put their all into the relationship, and you have just out of the blue, because you two didn't agree on something, just said, I can no longer connect with you because we're unequally yoked. Because you had a differences of opinion. Has nothing to do with someone taking you back to a mindset that is destructive for you. That part right there is very disturbing. And we're talking about the yoke. And I've talked about the first yoke, which is the one that is very solid and secure. The one that is for mature oxen. And then you have this other yoke where it's for training the ones that are undeveloped. The ox that is young coming up, learning how to work the field, or I call the apprentice, the apprenticeship. You have one who's matured. You have another one that is immature, one that is skilled, one that is not skilled or less skilled, teaching one another. See, that part, no one speaks on that portion in regards to that word, those two phrases, unequally yoked. See, to really say that someone is unequally yoked for you, you are saying that this person is no good for your life. You are saying that this person, place, or thing, it's no good for you. It is not healthy for you. You're saying that this is someone that does not need to be around you. And in many cases, it's not the case. It is not the case. What you're saying is, what you've said is many people are toxic people for your life. So you're trying to tell me that everyone that you have come across have been toxic relationships? But wait a minute. How can all these people be wrong and you're the only one right, but you're the common denominator? Could it be that the mentality that you have has become toxic for yourself? This mentality of unequally yoked, taken out of context, has become toxic for your own self. You have become the toxic person in your own life because of incomplete theology or false theology that you have followed, you allowed to govern your life. That is something that you must take accountability of. Because in many cases, many relationships are not going to be too mature working together. You're going to have many cases where you come across someone, you're going to have many more that are the apprenticeship type. Okay, maybe someone does not know. Maybe someone is lacking understanding. Maybe someone does not agree. But did you use that opportunity to teach? Did you use that opportunity to make it a teachable moment for that person, or allow it to be a teachable moment for yourself? Are you open to receive? Are you open to listen? Are you open to learn? Are you really a lifetime learner? See, now when you go back and reflect on many of the conversations that you've had, many of the people that you have cut off in the premises of unequally yoked, now with the understanding, because when you say be not entangled again in the yoke of bondage, and we're talking about you have come out of a bad place and you're now in a very good place. You're doing well. Life is good. And you meet someone who is really toxic for your life. What I've seen has been the opposite. You have gotten rid of those who can be potentially great relationships, but you embrace those who are toxic. I have seen several people do this. The ones who you should be saying we're unequally yoked, you take them into your bosom, so to speak. You take them into your life. You bring them into the intimate parts of your life. But the ones who can learn from you, the ones who can just iron out some understanding, being able to sit down and reason through fellowship. These are the people that you shun. These are the ones, many people shun those who are their external truth. I know. I've experienced this in my younger years. I've experienced it. I've done it. There have been some people that I've cut off in the premises of unequally yoked, done it in ignorance, had to go back and apologize, had to go back and explain myself as to why I've made a young, immature mistake, a young, immature bad choice. Some relationships were able to be reestablished and others were not. That is the risk you take. However, you have to go back as a mature person and resolve those things, because you don't know what your actions have done to someone's life, someone who was really meaningful in your life, someone who really had great intentions for you and really had great intentions for the relationship to grow. But because you had a disagreement, you chalked it off as unequally yoked. How many times have you done this? You have not allowed it to become a teachable moment for yourself, because many times, many of us have learned things that are off. Life and living may have taught us how to survive, and we've been living on survival mode. But when it comes down to really living, because many people are just walking around existing, but to really live as who you are, to unbecome all those things, put away the old mentality of the old person that you used to be, and now live as who you truly are, and really begin to take a bite out of life, so to speak, to really experience the freshness of life, to really experience what it is to have true fellowship, true friends, people who are parental in your life. These people that actually care for you. Now you have this in your life. But in your past, you may have some people that you have damaged lives because of you use this phrase, unequally yoked. Mr. B.U., you taking it far out of context. Am I? Have you gone back to see some of these people and the conditions you have left them in? Especially if you was a great influence in their life. Especially when many people have looked up to you and you have chalked them off as, you're no good for me. Based on misunderstandings, based on lack of understanding, based on taking content out. It is out of context and out of content, and you have lived your life this long, and now when you have your aha moment, there are some times when you need to go back and readdress. There are some times you need to go back and extend an apology. There are moments, there are situations, and there are people that you need to go to and be able to make amends with based on this. Are you mature enough to do so, or will your pride keep you to the side? Moment of discovery, dramatic pause, and we're back. Now, this is the part what I'm talking about, because it is not easy. It is not easy listening to something and knowing that you've done something for years that is way off. And you thought all this time that you were living in truth. You thought all this time you were living the life that is meant to be lived. But then you find out that you've been living and doing things that are out of context. And many people's lives who are part of that have been affected. There's nothing wrong with going back and making amends with someone based on this here. It could be someone who was a potential mate, boyfriend or girlfriend, or whoever you want to. You saw this person as a potential husband and wife, engaged and everything. I've seen it all. Ready to be married, but then something happens and you find out something about someone, and all of a sudden now we're unequally yoked. And the relationship dissolves. Broken hearts based on lack of understanding. This is not about how much money you have. This is not about your tax bracket. Unequally yoked is not about if we are part of the same denomination, if we believe the same scriptures. Do we interpret things the same? Are we what working class or living class are you a part of? It's none of those things. It's about being able to work with those who can work with you and do it productively, and being able to create great things from this relationship. Being able to have the common interest met. Being able to see life improve, not just for you two, but those that you two may impact. Because this is bigger than you. Always remember that. It's bigger than you. Let's not have a self-centered view about this. We're all just specks in this universe. But when we come together, we can make greatness happen when we do things within the context and understanding. Thank you for joining me today on Be the Ultimate You Talk Radio. Take time to reflect on what I shared. Think about it. Are they really unequally yoked? Or were you just saying things out of context? See you next time on Be the Ultimate You Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. I'm Mr. B-U, and until next time, be bold, be true, be the ultimate you. You know, there are a lot of things you have to worry about in life, but moisturized lips should not be one of them. Mintworth is currently running a 30% off New Year's special on their all-natural lip balms. Personally, I have been using this product for several months, and let me tell you, this is some great lip balm. My personal favorites are the Belvedere Berry and Vintage Honey. Now look, the sale ends January 31st, so don't miss out. Visit their website at www.mintworth.co. Tell them Mr. B-U sent you. When I think about relaxation, I think of Peace and Light Candle. Peace and Light candles are made using 100% natural soy, pure fragrance oils, essential oils, and cotton paper wicks, resulting in a candle that is clean burning, true to scent, and long lasting. Peace and Light Candles currently offers candles, body butters, and soaps. Visit their website at www.peaceandlightcandleco.com.